WWE just released their top 10 SmackDown moments from this week, and I'm about to expose something that's going to absolutely infuriate you. They left out the one moment that everyone is talking about, the moment that's trending on every social media platform, the moment that literally changed the trajectory of a championship storyline. But you know what they did include? Absolute filler garbage that nobody cares about. And I know exactly why they left it out, and it's going to make your blood boil. Stay until the end, because what I reveal about number 3 on this list is going to prove that WWE thinks you're stupid. They are manipulating what you see, controlling the narrative, and hoping you don't notice. Well, I noticed, and I'm calling them out. Let me ask you something. When did WWE become so terrified of their own product that they started censoring their own highlights? When did the company that gave us the Attitude Era become so corporate, so sanitized, so pathetically afraid of controversy that they'd rather show you a mediocre backstage segment than the moment that had the entire arena losing their minds? I'll tell you when. Right now. The 7th of November 2025. This week's SmackDown. Starting at number 10 on WWE's official list, we've got a Baron Corbin backstage promo. Baron Corbin. Let that sink in. In what universe does a Baron Corbin promo make the top 10 moments of any show in 2025? The man has been directionless for years, bouncing from gimmick to gimmick like a wrestling identity crisis, and WWE wants us to believe that this was one of the 10 best things that happened on SmackDown. This is the same company that had an actual title change, a legitimate surprise return, and a brutal post-match assault. But sure, let's celebrate Corbin talking about his feelings. Question for the comments: when was the last time Baron Corbin was in a storyline you actually cared about? I'm genuinely asking because I can't remember. Number 9 is a tag team match between the Street Profits and Pretty Deadly. Fine. Okay. It was a decent match. The Profits won, they did their usual energetic routine, and the crowd was moderately entertained. But top 10 worthy? On a show that was absolutely stacked with major moments? This is what WWE does. They pad these lists with safe, forgettable content to avoid highlighting the stuff that might generate real conversation, real controversy, real emotion. God forbid the fans feel something genuine. At number 8, we've got Bayley cutting a promo on Damage Control. Now, I actually like Bayley. She's talented, she's evolved as a character, and she can talk. But this promo was nothing special. It was the same "I built this group and you betrayed me" storyline we've seen 1,000 times. Bayley deserves better material, and we deserve better than WWE pretending this was groundbreaking television. It wasn't. It was fine, and fine shouldn't make top 10 lists. Number 7 brings us to LA Knight getting a victory in a singles match. The crowd loves LA Knight, and rightfully so. The man is money on the microphone and solid in the ring. But here's the thing, this was a throwaway match against a lower card opponent that nobody will remember in 2 weeks. LA Knight deserves to be in main event programs, fighting for championships, not being thrown a bone with meaningless wins that WWE can point to and say, "See, we're pushing him." You're not pushing him. You're pacifying the audience. Drop in the comments, is LA Knight the most wasted talent in WWE right now, or is someone else getting screwed harder? Let's debate. At number 6, WWE highlights a women's tag team match that went to a commercial break in the middle of the action. Let me repeat that, they put a match in the top 10 that was so unimportant they cut away from it for advertisements. The women involved are all talented performers who deserve better, but WWE's insistence on treating women's tag team wrestling like an afterthought is insulting. You can't celebrate something you literally interrupted to sell merchandise and streaming subscriptions. Number 5 is where things get interesting. AJ Styles had a confrontation with Carmelo Hayes, and it was genuinely good. 2 talented performers, clear tension, solid mic work. This should be on the list. Hayes is one of the best things WWE has called up from NXT in years, and putting him against a legend like Styles is smart booking. Finally, something that deserves recognition. But notice it's only at number 5, while Baron Corbin's promo is higher. Make it make sense. At number 4, we've got a United States Championship segment with Austin Theory. Theory is young, athletic, and has potential, but his character work is still inconsistent. This segment was fine, but it wasn't memorable. It wasn't the kind of moment you text your friends about. It wasn't the moment that makes casual fans turn into die-hard fans. It was just there. And that's the problem with modern WWE. Everything is just there. Nothing feels urgent, nothing feels must-see, and these top 10 lists reflect that mentality. Number 3 is the one I mentioned earlier, and it's absolutely ridiculous. WWE included a comedy segment with the Grayson Waller effect. Now, don't get me wrong, Waller is entertaining and the segment had its moments. But placing this at number 3, above actual wrestling matches, above storyline progression, above everything else that happened on this show, is a slap in the face to the roster and the audience. It's WWE telling you that talk show segments matter more than in-ring action. It's WWE prioritizing safe, controlled content over organic, exciting moments. And here's where it gets sinister, this placement is strategic. By putting this at number 3, WWE can claim they are highlighting entertainment and character work while conveniently ignoring the controversial moment that happened later in the show. The moment where Kevin Owens absolutely destroyed Cody Rhodes after their match in a vicious, unscripted-looking beatdown that felt real for the first time in months. That moment isn't on this list at all. Why? Because it was too real, too violent, too much like the old WWE that actually made stars and created legendary moments. Question time: do you think WWE is intentionally sanitizing their content to appeal to sponsors, or are they just completely out of touch? Sound off below. Number 2 on WWE's list is Solo Siko's Bloodline segment. Now, this deserved to be high on the list. Siko has been carrying the Bloodline since Roman took time off, and he's been doing it with intensity and presence. The segment had heat, it had stakes, and it actually moved the storyline forward. This is what the list should be full of: moments that matter, moments that build to something, moments that make you want to tune in next week. If the entire list was quality like this, we wouldn't be having this conversation. And finally, number 1, Cody Rhodes retaining his championship in the main event. Obviously, this was going to be number 1. Cody is the top guy, the face of the company, and his match delivered. But here's what WWE conveniently edited out of their highlight, the post-match attack I mentioned earlier. Kevin Owens, Cody's supposed friend, snapping and brutalizing him with chairs, with steel steps, with pure unbridled aggression that felt dangerous and unpredictable. That was the moment of the night. That was what everyone is talking about. That was what should have been number 1, or at the very least, acknowledged as part of the main event segment. But WWE cut it out. They showed Cody's victory, his celebration, and then, nothing. They pretended the most shocking moment of the entire show didn't happen. Why? Because it was too violent, too controversial, too much like the Attitude Era that made WWE billions of dollars and created the most iconic moments in wrestling history. WWE has become so obsessed with being family-friendly and brand-safe that they are willing to erase the very moments that make wrestling wrestling. The danger, the unpredictability, the sense that anything can happen, that's what hooks audiences. That's what creates viral moments. That's what separates wrestling from every other scripted television show. But modern WWE doesn't want viral moments unless they can control the narrative around them. They don't want organic reactions, they want manufactured responses to carefully curated content. They don't want you talking about what actually happened, they want you talking about what they want you to see. And you know what's even more insulting? The moment they left out is the reason people will tune in next week. It's the cliffhanger, the hook, the what happens next that drives wrestling storytelling. But instead of celebrating it, instead of promoting it, instead of using it to build anticipation, they buried it. They pretended it wasn't the most important thing that happened on the entire show. This is the same company that built its empire on Stone Cold Steve Austin beating up his boss, on The Rock's electrifying promos, on Mankind getting thrown off Hell in a Cell, on Undertaker rising from the dead, on all the chaotic, violent, unpredictable moments that made wrestling the biggest thing in entertainment. And now they give us Baron Corbin promos and comedy segments and act like we should be grateful. The SmackDown that aired on the 7th of November 2025 had genuine drama, real emotion, and a shocking moment that will reverberate through storylines for weeks. But WWE's top 10 list doesn't reflect that. It reflects a company that's terrified of its own shadow, that's more concerned with corporate sponsors than passionate fans, that would rather play it safe than create something memorable. Final question: what moment from this week's SmackDown do you think should have been number 1? And what would your actual top 10 list look like? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to smash that like button and share this video with everyone who's tired of WWE censored nonsense. Here's the truth that WWE doesn't want you to realize: you deserve better. You deserve a company that respects your intelligence, that doesn't try to manipulate what you see and feel, that isn't afraid to show you the edgy, controversial, must-see moments that make wrestling special. You deserve the SmackDown that actually happened, not the sanitized, corporate-approved version that WWE wants to sell you. This is Wrestling Zone 1, where we show you what WWE won't. Subscribe, hit that notification bell, and join us next time when we break down more of WWE's corporate gaslighting. Because somebody has to tell the truth, and it sure as hell isn't going to be them. Until next time, keep questioning